All right, so I saw this thing right here. People were losing their damn minds over apparently iTerm and AI are now combined. So I haven't read anything about this. I just saw people losing it all on the internet. So it's 1,001 words. It's a palindrome. It's worth the read, right? So iTerm2 is the most popular terminal emulator for Mac OS machines. So already I don't even have a problem because I don't even have a Mac OS. So think about that. I've used it for years and I've gotten it, and it has gotten out of my way. It's great software. Recently, an update was released that, among other things, included new AI integration. AI. Add AI-powered natural language command generation. Enter a prompt in the composer and select Edit, Engage Artificial Intelligence. Engage the EAI. And you'll need to provide an OpenAI key, and since GPT costs money to use. A new AI feature in the tool belt. Code Serge, I'm not sure how to say that term, lets you set a goal and then walks you step by step to completing it by watching the terminal contents. It requires you to supply an OpenAI key. I don't understand this feature. Like, I think I see where this is going. Like, generally, I'm just going to throw this out there. If I can avoid learning FFmpeg and that every now and then I need to convert one video to a different video format, just that one time, or combine a bunch of JPEGs into an image or into a video, if I only have to do that, once every 10 months, I am fine. Oof, I always just look it up. I just look it up every single time. So, like, for me, the Engage Artificial Intelligence would be very awesome. Code Concierge? Oh, Code Concierge? Yeah, but it's not. It's Code Concierge, right? It's not Code Concierge. Anyways, so, like, I like that idea. I like the idea. So part of me loves the idea of command line tool execution by AI. Like, I do love that idea. But part of me, gosh, this must be the troglodyte in me or the Luddite in me or whatever the hell you want to call it in me, where I can't help but to think there's some set of tools that you want to be able to just use yourself, such as JQ. JQ is a perfect example of people who would probably really, really like to have JQ just be used by AI, and you just kind of explain what it does and then be able to have it just run and do the JQing. But the fact that I had to use JQ for like a month or 2 months and really focus on how to use it super well, I gained so many skills and I could do so many cool things, parsing huge sets of data from Mongo through JQ into other queries and all that it would be so hard for me to want to actually give that up to an AI. And I could foresee that if you had an AI at your side, again, it's like phone numbers. You quit learning phone numbers once you had a cell phone, right? Like, how much of us just knew exactly, like, so many people's phone number, and then you got a cell phone, and then you never learned a phone number again? Like, would you actually hamper yourself? Would you just sit there and just be constantly asking, keep on asking over and over again, trying to coerce the AI into doing what you want, and all of a sudden the thing that sped you up in the simple case slows you down in the long case? That's my worry. The simple cases, it's just like, I don't care. That's why I call the FFmpeg case. Because the FFmpeg case is just like, give me the answer, because I don't ever want to look up FFmpeg or learn it, because I will never use it more than once every 10 months. The once every 10 months case, it feels like Engage Artificial Intelligence is a great command. Absolutely love it. The difference is phone numbers aren't important to know by heart. Well, some phone numbers are. Some phone numbers you should always learn by heart. Like, I have my mom's phone number memorized forever. 555. 5555, 5555, right? It's very, very easy to remember my mom's phone number. Or I have my wife's phone number memorized, right? Do I need to know all phone numbers? No, I don't. But do I know my wife's? Yeah, absolutely. I have your mom's number memorized too. Damn. And so it's just like, there's some tools that you want to learn and not engage AI. And there's some tools that I think make natural, perfect sense. I see I swear people are going to just think I'm a Luddite all the time. It's just, that's my only worry about AI, is that you pigeonhole yourself into inability. Here's what the feature looks like. Okay, cool. Let's watch this bad boy. Convert input move to, oh my goodness, look, FFmpeg. Oh my goodness, it's FFmpeg. Look at it go. Like, this is exactly, by the way, you got to learn how to type faster, man. This typing is so slow. This is like exactly the reason why I want it. Like, this is precisely it to a T. This is it. Pre-watch feels weird, man. Thinking. Yeah, they're FFmpeg. Dude, FFmpeg. Oh, thank you. Pre-watch, let's go. FFmpeg. Dude, of course it's a pain in the ass. That's so funny. It's a text box that you can enter a description of the command and then generate the command for you. It's a lot like the former GitHub Copilot for CLI. Wait, the former, but built into your terminal. Just a command away. And you also get the following models. Okay, cool. I wasn't able to get GPT 4.0 to work, but GPT 3.5 Turbo worked fine. I'm not totally wowed by the feature, but it is a thing that exists, and I'll probably use it once or twice, mainly when I'm dealing with FFmpeg commands. Let's fucking go. I love the fact that FFmpeg is some sort of universal painful tool. It's just so funny that you can just be like, there's one tool I'd use this for, FFmpeg, and then somebody writes an article, you read the article, and they too have FFmpeg. There's only a few people that really actually know FFmpeg. And the rest is just it's like that old meme on the internet with Stack Overflow, where there's like that one dude on Stack Overflow answering every question with regexes and actually knows how to use regexes, and then there's everybody else that just copies and pastes regexes into their code base. This is the same thing. There's one person that knows how to use FFmpeg, and everybody else just copy and paste it into their terminal. I cannot wait for the amount of havoc, by the way, that this is going to cause. Because if you don't even know how to do command line, like especially a bunch of pipings, you're going to end up piping some sort of file removal, and you're going to hate your life. Well, one of the main bits of feedback I've seen from people online is that iTerm2 having AI involved at all is enough to get them to want to switch away to another terminal emulator. For me, this isn't really a big deal, right? Because you have to provide your own open API key. So what the hell's the problem with that? Like, right? You don't like. These things aren't on by default. It'd be way too expensive for any company to have that. So it's like, is there really a problem for it to have that? I don't see why this would be a problem. It's okay. I can always get GitHub Copilot to explain my shell command. Oh, shoot. You have ChatGPT to generate you the command in which you pipe to Copilot to look at the command. Man, that's a sad state of affairs. They cited the reason as exhaustion due to overexposure to AI hype. This is actually, I'm feeling this too, like AI in everything. Do we need AI in everything? Is everything AI pilled? Like, do we have to have this? It feels like no matter what you're doing, it's AI, 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 AI. And I think VCs are to blame. You know why? Because I think VCs, specifically tech VCs, are the worst form of this because they are just technical enough. Well, who said this? I want to say it was John Lennox. Like, he effectively says that bachelors of science are the worst of people because they have just enough science to like think they know everything, but they know literally nothing. And so they're just like, we're the smartest. We know, right? You see this all the time. Like, they're the people that are just so dang full of their own shit, but they actually don't know anything. But they have the illusion of knowing stuff. And so it's like there's this curve that exists that people that don't know anything, it's literally the midwit curve, right? The midwit curve is the Bachelor of Science curve. You have just enough science in you to think you know stuff, but you actually don't know anything. Whereas the dumb person and the smart person are both like, yeah, it's actually really complicated out there. It's like really crazy. And so I feel like the VCs are the midwit curve. They have just enough science and just enough programming to understand like tech talk, but they don't actually have enough to really know why things are good or bad, and they just completely midwit these things and just like AI pill everything because it's going to solve the universe, and so they just dive into it. I got one more thing to say. I'm going to say something about investments, okay? Here we go. We're going to do this. Are you ready for this? Hey, are you ready for this? I have a new running theory. Are you guys ready for my new running theory? And this is going to piss off a lot of people. I think if I were a VC and you tell me that you do not need unit testing your code, I think you are building a product that is so sufficiently simple that you may be first to market, but it is so easily replicatable, it's not worth investing in. I've been thinking about it all morning, okay? I've been thinking about that all morning. I don't know how to formulate that into a tweet, but I realize something, that when people say they don't need unit tests, they're building sufficiently easy software to replicate. And it's not Uncle Bob style, right? Like I'm not saying unit test everything. But like the Doom thing that we've been making, this little Doom pixel stuff, like it is literally impossible for me to be able to make this without a decent amount of unit testing, because it's like impossibly hard. And so, like, imagine if there was actually a market for making ASCII engine games, and I had a service that could compress all your stuff, send it down efficiently, and make it live playable across a bunch of stuff. Then yeah, it's like the fact that I have a bunch of unit tests that are actually testing complex stuff is a good sign that I'm actually building something that is sufficiently complex enough that someone else can't just simply be like, oh, you're just wrapping a few APIs and calling it a product. It's not a product. It's just a wrapper. Okay, dude, Lithium said it. Imagine doing the XOR stuff and not testing it. I know, exactly. Anyways, just throwing that out there. That's my personal thought, is that if you don't even have unit tests, I am now convinced that your company's too easily replicatable. Effectively, what that means is that you aggregate services. You don't actually do something. Couldn't you be a VC if you want? The criteria for becoming a qualified investor aren't that crazy. I could become one, quote unquote, but it requires so much time and thought and effort. Like if I were to really try to do it, I'd really want to be involved. AI is the current meme among investors in tech space. Microsoft putting AI button on your keyboard. Slack is training AI on your messages. Of course they are. Isn't that crazy that you pay a monthly fee for Slack? And you are probably also getting data collected. This is, again, I think DHH is right. People want to return to like owning their own shit, because this is absurd. This kind of stuff. OpenAI is in hot water with Scarlett Johansson. That's right. If you guys haven't seen this, this is wild. She was just like, yo, OpenAI, you're not allowed to use my voice. And then OpenAI's like, nah, we're going to use it anyways. He literally tweeted her, and within 2 days, her sued him. Like, how great, dude. He got heard, right? Like, dude, oh my goodness. It's so funny. It is so dang funny. Dude, Chad move. Her and owned. Anyways, let's see. It's everywhere. It's exhausting. Part of my job requires me to keep up with the latest advances in AI, and I'm unable to. Everything happens so much. Yeah, the thing is there's no advances. Okay, there's been no advances in the last 8 months in AI. GPT 4.40 Omni or Omen or Omega or whatever the hell it is it's not an advancement. It's just slightly faster GPT 4, and sometimes it's not even as accurate. Like, there's not anything to it. It feels like an Apple, we just want to make you buy more adapters release. They are not like there's nothing that amazing about it, right? There has not been any real progression in the last little bit. The hard part also is we went from nothing to LLMs everywhere. And LLMs, I still remember my first experience with an LLM, which was programmed. This was Copilot, and I programmed in a flip the coin game or a guess a number game, and I had it so if player 1 is closer than player 2, they win. Else, if player 2 is closer than player 1, player 2 wins. Else, and then it printed out, it's a tie. And I remember thinking, holy cow, that was incredible. And it was really incredible. Like, that was such an incredible experience to be a part of, to see this autocomplete complete semantically for me what I was trying to do. Absolutely. I'm still blown away to this day by it. I'm not somebody who just thinks it's just stupid technology. I actually think it's really, really cool. But there hasn't been really great advancements with it since then. It still is largely inaccurate. You still can't really rely on it. You can't replace your knowledge with it. It's not a knowledge replacer. You can only use it to advance. You should never use it to replace. And once you use it to replace, you will start using it. It will solve your simple problem. And the moment you have a complex problem, you're in a complex problem without the beginner knowledge needed to get to that complex problem. And I feel like you're double screwed at that point, because then you are up a river without a paddle and without the skills to be able to wade into that river itself. Whereas, like, if you started from the beginning, you had to Google and learn your way to get to that point of complexity. Now you don't even get that. It's wild. Anyways, the type of command for me, feature has caused a lot of buzz online, to the point where people I know are just flat out ripping out iTerm2 in favor of programs that don't have AI integration in them. This is way crazy overreaction. You would think that people who program would be a bit more logical. they're not logical. Hell, even the mention that a tool is going to get AI integration has people preemptively ripping it out of their systems because of that opacity. A terminal emulator is probably also a fairly bad place to implement this because it's probably one of the most privileged programs on a developer machine. This is a good point. Careful. It deals with all the secrets in the world, and the threat that it could be used to upload them all to a third party is great enough that people are willing to switch. Okay, so this is actually a really fair statement. If it uploads things that you have no control over, or the surface itself is opaque, would make it feel very scary. And I actually agree with that. I actually fully agree with this last statement. It is a very privileged program, and I can see why it's terrifying. Let's see. I don't get it. It's a very optional feature that you have to go out of your way to enable, supply your own API key, enable something that is not enabled by default. Why are people reacting so strongly to this? Edit. An earlier version of this post assumed that iTerm2 was closed source. It is not. I apologize for the error. Here is the amended version of the paragraph. A lot of this boils down to having this shoved down their throats. In fact, it's the fact that they're being added to a tool without the user having an agency to decide if they want it to be added or not. That being said, here's a commit that added the AI feature in question. It's apparently been in development at some level for 2 years or so. I guess it predates most of the AI hype. It's been going on. Nothing like anime girls and furries telling you all about this. This is absolutely fantastic. I get why people wouldn't want this in their lives. I really do. I think it's one of the greatest errors that was made with putting this in iTerm2 was making a big show of it, and by not letting you use local models. Yeah, local models would have been cool instead of having OpenAI be the only option. Yeah, but I mean, it's so hard. I mean, I get why. Anyone that's done any sort of programming, having a plurality of models and stuff like that, of having a plurality of any service options becomes a super difficult. I mean, just look at NullLS or NullLS. Trying to even have a bunch of formatters and linters in a tool is hard enough. It's just difficult. It would be really cool if it was distributed with an optional add-on with their Python API as an example of how to extend iTerm2 in arbitrary ways. This would obviously be the best, is having a third-party extension or having a first-party extension that you can add that would allow AI to jump in. This would honestly be the best. This would be the best, and then no one can be upset. Okay. This is pretty cool. It's pretty cool that, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I think this is a pretty cool feature in just like it's in theory. Like, I love the idea of just FFmpeg. Absolutely love it. A huge amount of dangers with AI, though. The security vector of AI is not only large, it's completely unknown. We don't even know what we don't know about security implications yet. I'm pretty sure we have low-level learning in here, or was in here. I bet you he might pipe up and say, yeah, that's probably about right, which is it's just such an unknown territory right now. And I just don't see why anybody would want to take some of those risks currently. LLM is a security nightmare. It is, because you don't like we just don't even know. We don't even know yet. Okay, look, the author of iTerm2 has responded. Hi, I'm the author, and I wanted to comment on this. Opt-in. AI features are entirely opt-in. If you have any ethical consideration regarding the use of AI, you don't need to enable these features. Don't provide an API key, and the AI functionalities will remain inactive. I don't have VC funding, and I'm definitely not footing the bill for you. Okay, good. Copyright concerns. The issues with copyright in the context of AI, especially code generation, is complicated. I think the principles of GPL align more with using code for model training purposes, but I'm not a lawyer. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is obviously like, this is a whole can of worms on itself. Let's see, energy usage. The energy consumption required for training these models is a huge problem, but that's a sunk cost. The decision to use AI involves weighing the environmental costs against the benefits. It is not my place to make this trade-off for every user. Each individual or organization must evaluate whether the productivity gains and other advantages justify the energy expenditure. Users are going to use LLMs to help them use a terminal emulator, whether support is built in or not. By building it in, the tool is more useful for these users. That's fair. I mean, this is a very fair trade-off. The less screens you have to jump, the more useful something is. I think that's just a completely fair statement. LLMs make a mistake all the time, but in my experience, quality is good enough to be useful. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty fair take, considering how much just onslaught this guy is experiencing on the internet right now. This is a fairly mild mannered take, being like, hey, you know, it doesn't turn on by itself. You have to opt into it. I don't have funding. I'm not going to pay for you. If you're worried about it, don't turn it on. And people who are going to use it anyway. So why not give them a quick and close experience? The GPT argument, well, he's just saying, well, because people have copyright concerns. I don't understand copyright, so I'm just going to say nothing about copyright. How is it any different than just installing Copilot CLI? It's not. AI cannot even count the R's in strawberry. Of course it can't count the R's in strawberry. It's because it's not precise. It's close enough. Remember, AI is like horseshoes. You just have to be close enough. That's it. It's not going to be ringing a horseshoe every time. It's just going to be close enough. Anyways, okay. It's wild the amount of hype. Hey, if you're listening to this and you're hyped up out of your mind over this, okay, I just want you to know one thing. Don't get hyped up out of your mind over things. Often, most molehills are just molehills. Few are actually mountains. I think the copyright concerns is like a real issue with LLMs. And I think that copyright should be something that I really do hope that a ton of lawsuits come out and absolutely destroy some of these companies, these LLM companies, because I think they deserve it. They've been just brain raping people regardless of their licensing and just calling it a day. And so I do hope that happens. As far as, could please explain horseshoes to me? Horseshoes is a really simple concept. If you don't know what horseshoes are, horseshoes is a game in which there's two poles across from each other over a distance of, I forget how many feet, right? And then there's a backstop. There you go. This is horseshoes. And you throw a horseshoe, and if it lands within one horseshoe range, so in other words, if you can turn this horseshoe over and touch the pole, it's worth 1 point. There's an old phrase, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. People be like, oh, I was so close. The response is, well, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Well, now close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and LLMs, right? Because you just have to be close enough. Okay, that's really my take on this stuff. I think a lot of this stuff is fairly hyped up, and it just doesn't need to be. And I hope the takeaway that you guys get out of this is that this is a potentially cool feature. This is potentially very useful for avoiding FFmpeg, and I think a lot of people will get some use out of it. Please, at the end of the day, the tools you use regularly, learn them well. The tools that you use once every 8 months, it's like a phone number. I don't think you have to. I honestly don't think you have to learn all of it. That's it. The internet, literally, AI goes one of two ways. It either goes in the way that grows quadratically, in which we all lose our jobs and AI does everything, or B, it grows logarithmically and we fill the universe with GPUs just to generate pictures of anime girls and cat girls. That's it. AI girlfriends, right here we go. She has creepy fingers. Yeah, little creepy fingers. That's part of the AI's creepy fingers. It's just part of it. The name is, it feels weird to be a middle ground AI person. I feel like there's not very many middle ground people. I feel like middle ground AIing is just this weird part where everybody hates you because you say a phrase like, AI's not that great. And they're like, yeah, bro's just worried about his job being stolen. And then other people are like, you would use that unethical bullshit. You're probably a bad programmer. And you're just like, dang, man, all I said was I just think it's pretty neat. Like, it's kind of novel and it kind of makes me excited when it does pretty cool autocomplete. It just, I don't know. I think it's mildly interesting. Jen.